Good morning, everyone. My name is Alfredo Enriquez. I am the Scholarship Coordinator and Director for the Good Samaritan Scholarship Program. I am beyond excited to have you all join us to our first virtual Good Samaritan Scholarship Orientation. And it is 10 a.m., so I do thank you for joining us right on time. We will start the orientation now. And I do want to ask you all if you could please mute your sound system. I will unmute you, or you could also unmute yourself if you have any questions along the way, but I would appreciate if you could mute yourself for now while the presentations are going on. I will also be doing the muting for everyone, but if you could also help me out with that, I'd appreciate it. So today's orientation will go as follows. We're going to be having our introductions right at 10 a.m. to 10:10. We're going to be hosting our Good Samaritan presentation from 10:10 to 10:25 by Javier Rodriguez. At 10:25 to 10:40, I'll be providing the orientation for the scholarship program. And at 10:40 to 10:55, Jimena will be presenting her road to accounting and also giving you some tips as to how she got into accounting and how you could also get into some other professions. At 10:55 to 11:10, Misty will be providing a orientation on do's and don'ts your first year in college. And at 11:10 to 11:15 a.m., Mr. Conde and Mrs. Conde will be giving you some words of encouragement for your first year in college during this pandemic, and basically just encouraging you to work hard, and I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy their presentation. And we're going to be concluding around 11:15 through 11:20. So some introductions. I will be unmuting some of our speakers just so that they could introduce themselves. But basically, I'm going to start presenting myself, and then I'll also give off the opportunity for our other speakers to speak. So basically, like I mentioned, my name is Alfredo Enriquez. I am an insurance agent, and I'm also a scholarship director. I was awarded the Good Samaritan Scholarship Program back in 2014. I graduated from Southgate High School. I went to UC Merced, and I am completing my education at Southern New Hampshire University. And pretty much that's all about me. I'm excited to getting to know you all. And if we were under other circumstances, we would be meeting in person. But unfortunately for now, we're hosting our meetings via Zoom. Mr. Conde, would you like to introduce yourself as well as Mrs. Evelyn Conde?
Yes, good morning, students. My name is David Conde. I'm a teacher for LA Unified. I've been teaching for over 20 years, and my wife, Evelyn, she is a teacher for Hacienda La Puente Unified School District. We attended Cal State LA, and I went to Trinity Law, and Evelyn went to, well, Evelyn, why don't you share that?
Yeah. Hi, hello, everyone. Yes, I also went to Cal State LA for my undergrad, and then I got my master's degree at Azusa Pacific University.
Awesome. We're very excited to have you join us. Let's jump over to Misty Heron. Let me unmute Misty. Let me find her. Okay, Misty, you're unmuted. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Like Alfredo said, I am Misty Heron. I am a marriage and family associate, which means I'm basically getting a license. I started college. I went to Rio Hondo Community, and then I transferred over to Cal State Fullerton, and then I got my Hope International University. And so that's a little bit of, so hopefully this next year I become licensed.
Awesome. Thank you, Misty, for joining us this year again. And we're very excited for you to get to know our scholarship applicants. And during the interviews, you all will have an opportunity to basically see them and get to speak to them. So let's jump over to Jimena, who's also part of our scholarship committee panel.
Hi everyone, my name's Jimena. I Graduated from Garfield High School back in 2010. I was also a Good Samaritan Scholarship recipient, and I went on to get my bachelor's degree in accounting at California Lutheran University. Graduated in 2014, and then I practiced public accounting for 4 years, and now I'm a financial analyst. And I'll tell you a little more during my presentation.
Hi, everyone. Give me one quick second. I'm trying to get Javier Rodriguez on the line. Give me 1 second. Bear with me. Javier, could you speak to see if we could hear you? I don't think we could hear you. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Give us one quick second. Okay, you could speak, Javier. I don't think they could hear you, Javier. Okay. Yes. Okay, everyone, sorry about that. I was trying to get Javier Rodriguez, who is the founder of Works of Power, to speak, but I was not able to unmute him. Nonetheless, Javier Rodriguez, he is the founder of Works of Power and the Good Samaritan Scholarship Program, and he's also an insurance broker here in Southgate, California. We will continue trying to get him on, but for now, we will just resume the meeting. So the Good Samaritan, Javier was going to present on this, but I will cover it for now. And basically, transformational change never happens in a time of rest and leisure. Rather, change happens in times of trials and tribulations. So as you all know, we're all going through difficult times with this pandemic, but this is a perfect opportunity for us to really get creative and find solutions to problems we haven't thought of before. So during these obviously difficult times, I encourage you all to see past what we're all going through and get creative. And also, don't allow these difficult times to get the best of you. Just keep working hard and everything will get better soon. So these are great leaders that were born in a time of crisis. So I don't know if you all could know who all these four leaders are, but pretty much we have number one, who you should all be familiar with, number two, number three, and number four. So let's move on to the next slide. Question. What do the first three people have in common? Who is the fourth person on the slide? So I'm going to go back shortly, but the winner who knows who the fourth person on the slide is will get a Starbucks gift card. So how this will work is you just need to submit your answers um, to the chat box in Zoom, and whoever gets the answer correct, you will basically get a Starbucks gift card. So we're going to proceed with the presentation, but feel free to take a picture of this. You could do your investigation while the meeting continues, but basically that's um, the little game we're going to be playing at the moment. So Martin Luther King mentioned intelligence plus character. That is the goal of true education. Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember you have within the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars, to change the world. Harriet Tubman. So Harriet Tubman was a famous leader. I'm pretty sure you all heard of her in your history classes, but basically she encouraged a lot of leadership from people all around the world. And Abraham Lincoln stated, "Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves, and under a just God cannot long retain it." Abraham Lincoln. So Francisco Suarez was a Spanish Jesuit priest, philosopher, and theologian, one of the leading figures of the school of Salamanca movement and generally regarded among the greatest scholar of his time. The Declaration of Independence gives three examples of inalienable rights in the well-known phrase, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These fundamental rights are endowed on every human being by his or his creator and are often referred to as natural rights. So risk takers are game changers. If you want to make a difference in society, give up your rights. If you want to make a name for yourself, you will never be remembered. So the message of the Good Samaritan is that you need to take risks sometimes. If that is calling your local business, calling a nonprofit organization, asking what opportunities they have for you during these difficult times, or even an internship, a job, anything, that's how people basically get things done. I encourage you all, to take risks during these difficult times. Don't get comfortable where you currently are. If you are interested in expanding your gifts or just getting more education and more skills on your portfolio, I encourage you to take risk and do your investigation of some other opportunities that are out there. So that concludes the first session, which is the Good Samaritan. Now it's my turn to cover Works of Power. So Works of Power is a nonprofit organization, and our mission statement is empowering individuals to become spirit-filled leaders to impact our society. So who we are. So like I mentioned, Works of Power is a nonprofit organization, and we as an organization, carry multiple programs to achieve our mission and purpose. Our primary purpose is obviously to impact and empower individuals to transform their culture, whether it's going to be like in famous cities such as in Wall Street or such as leper colonies in India. Works of Power is a diverse organization and it has many programs such as the Good Samaritan Scholarship Program, Project India, Circle of Power, Business and Professional, and other more initiatives that we have all around the world. The very cool thing that I find about Works of Power is that we're not only working here in the United States, we have missions all around the world and we're actively helping people all around the world better themselves and better their community. So Works of Power is involved in community input, community engagement, and global impact. Project Joseph. So as you all know, during the coronavirus pandemic, this pandemic is affecting a lot of people, not only here in the US, but everywhere in the world. People are being laid off, people basically cannot leave their homes, and there's a lot of elderly people and low-income family that are being affected the most because they cannot go out and get assistance as easily as someone who is young. So what Works of Power is doing is that Works of Power started a project called Project Joseph. So the objective of Project Joseph is to give food assistance to elderly and low-income people during this pandemic. So currently Works of Power is working in Nepal, El Salvador, California, Tijuana, Mexico, and in Honduras during Project Joseph. And basically they're giving food assistance and bringing a message of hope to these people during these difficult times. We encourage all of you to get involved with Project Joseph. Feel free to contact me, send me an email, call me, but basically get involved with this project. We're looking for leaders in our community to basically join our project and help us help more people here in our communities. So the ways that you could participate in Project Joseph is if you know anyone or if you personally need assistance with food assistance or just speaking to someone, feel free to contact us and we could connect you with one of our representatives from Project Joseph. And also, if you have any questions, feel free to send them my way or also save them to the end. We're going to have a moment where you're going to be able to ask all the questions you may have about this presentation. So some other projects that Works of Power is involved is Skid Row Outreach. So on the very first column under Skid Row Outreach, those are all the images of our Skid Row events. So Works of Power has been very active in the Skid Row community. We host 3 Skid Row events every year: spring, spring, fall, and Christmas, if I'm not mistaken. So basically what we do is that we go out to the Skid Row Park. We basically take over an entire park in Skid Row in downtown Los Angeles, and we invite our scholarship students, our recipients, our previous alumni, basically everyone from Works of Power, and we go out and take a lot of free clothing, free hygiene kits, free food, warm food, and we also package it. So those bags that you see in the middle of the pictures, those are all packaged bags that we and our students put together. So it's a very fun event. You get to speak to a lot of people. You basically get to be very involved. And if you enjoy community service like myself, you will honestly have a great time. At the moment, we don't know when our next Skid Row event is, but I will for sure send an invitation as soon as we have our tentative date announced. Our second outreach event is Mexico Outreach. So Works of Power also is very active in Tijuana, Mexico, and we go about 3 times every year. And we basically take a message of hope. We provide donations such as food, clothing to the people of Tijuana, Mexico. And this is also a good opportunity for you to do community service, get involved. And if you want to grow your circle and get to know more people, this is also a good opportunity for that. Our third mission is Relief Effort in Puerto Rico. So after Hurricane Maria happened in 2017, Works of Power became very active with Puerto Rico, and our team donated hundreds of pounds of rice, water, hygiene kits, water purifiers, solar lights, medicine, and they also rebuilt homes during um, in Puerto Rico. So as you can see, all these pictures, they show how Works of Power is very active in our community. And like I mentioned, our main purpose is to impact our community so that that community could impact other people positively. Moving on, Works of Power is also very active in Nicaragua. And like I mentioned, the pictures of each mission is right under the words on the top. So I don't want to confuse everyone, but those pictures basically belong to each outreach. So for our Nicaragua outreach, Works of Power is very involved with a city dump. Basically, the city dump is where just imagine a lot of landfills, trash landfills, and a lot of low-income people living there. So the low-income people live there because they could go through the trash with their families and they could get anything that they could recycle, such as water bottles, cardboard, just any sort of plastic that they could recycle. That's how people basically make a living in the city dumps. So Works of Power goes there. They build homes for some families in there, and they also minister to the communities of Nicaragua. So as you could see, there's some images right there of the new homes that are being built. And although they don't look as fancy, they are a pretty good home compared to being a cardboard box. So those are just some of the stuff that Works of Power is doing. Furthermore, Works of Power is also very involved in El Salvador. So Works of Power continues to be very involved in El Salvador by having a ministry that works directly with MS-13 gang members. So what they do is that right now they're working with another ministry to provide jobs in a bakery for these gang members. And as you could see in this image, obviously these are all rehabilitated gang members that are now turning their lives to Christ. And they're basically given a second opportunity at life. And that's something that Works of Power is very invested and involved in, because we believe, that as long as people are alive, there's always an opportunity to better their life and also to find Christ. So that's something that we're very proud of. And as you could see these images, there's a lot of men, very young men who have turned their lives around and are now doing the right things. So for our other outreach, it's our Guatemala outreach. So this is the very right column. So basically, after the volcano that erupted in 2018, and it killed hundreds of people and destroyed Guatemalan homes and all that, our team went and distributed warm and packaged food and other resources to the communities of Guatemala. So as you could see, our ministry team is out there helping people. They're praying for them, they're speaking to them and giving words of encouragement during those difficult times. And I feel like that's where Works of Power really shines, and is that we're not only providing our support and our assistance to communities all around the world during good times, but we're also involved with providing our support to these community people during difficult times as well. And that's when we notice that they really need our assistance. Moving on, Works of Power is also super involved in Nepal and India. So in Nepal, our team basically ministers to the impoverished communities of Nepal. And they also conduct community outreach and assist the communities that are mostly needed in Nepal with assistance with food and other financial support. And in India, Works of Power actually has a Loose Empowerment Center. So in the first image on the middle of the screen, you could see the Loose Empowerment Center grand opening. And that's basically when the Loose Empowerment Center was opened. And basically what the Loose Empowerment Center is it's a empowerment center that offers education, like classes of STEM classes, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and English classes. Also biblical classes to students. I believe they're like elementary school students. So they're very active. Works of Power is very active with the Loose Empowerment Center. Also, in India, we have the Good Samaritan Scholarship India program, which is very similar to Works of Power USA Good Samaritan Scholarship Program, but this is just in India. And Works of Power is also super involved with the orphanages, leper colonies, and slum ministry. And for our final outreach that Works of Power hosts is that every month, Works of Power hosts our men's business and professional men's meeting. So pretty much a lot of professional men and also students that we invite get together, and we host meetings at restaurants, sometimes at offices, and we basically have a moment where we could learn about the gospel and have monthly networking events with other professional men. So this is a perfect opportunity that I invite a lot of scholarship applicants, obviously boys that are interested in attending, because this is opportunity allows you to network with professionals. And I've seen a lot of our students that have networked with these professionals get other opportunities, such as they send them emails, and probably in like their firms they have internships that you could get exposed to. So if you're interested in any of these outreaches, feel free to get in contact with me, and I'll connect you to our team so you could obviously get involved with our ministries. So the scholarship history, like I mentioned, I have been the scholarship coordinator for over 4 to 5 years, and I really, what it really stood out for me from Works of Power is that Works of Power is not only interested in giving financial support to students. Basically, Works of Power through the Good Samaritan Scholarship Program is really invested in seeing our students be the best that they can, if that is financially, educationally, and just being wise students during difficult times. So for the past 17 years, the Good Samaritan Scholarship Program has impacted over 180 students and also has awarded over 45 scholarships. And the scholarships range from $250 to $1,000. And the schools that we work with within the LAUSD district is Garfield High School, Bell High School, Roosevelt High School, Southgate, and Huntington Park High School. So that picture on the right is a picture of our scholarship program last year. And as you could see, those are our scholarship recipients, as well as our committee team that attended our awards ceremony. So like I mentioned, there's a lot of ways for you to get involved. The first way is obviously to volunteer with our events that we host year round. Number two, you could join us for our ministries, and basically I could connect you with whatever ministry that you want to get involved with. And that is my email. Feel free to email me, or you also have my cell phone number. Feel free to call me, text me. And also the third one is connect with us on Facebook. So we're very active on Facebook, and we always post our upcoming events on Facebook. So I encourage you all to give us a like on Facebook, and also just stay connected with us. And further in this presentation, I will basically expand how we could create the network that we yearly create with our scholarship applicants. Moving on, there's many opportunities for the Good Samaritan Scholarship Program. Like I mentioned, what makes the Good Samaritan Scholarship Program different from other scholarships is that while the scholarship program does give scholarships, we also give a lot of other support to our students and our applicants. Even if you're not a recipient of a scholarship, you're still part of our circle. So that's something that really stood out to me the most. So like I mentioned, this year we're going to be giving scholarships ranging from $500 to $1,000. And we're also going to be having a brand new laptop raffle. So there are going to be different awards. So obviously the laptop raffle, it's going to be a specific award, and the scholarships from $500 to $1,000 are going to be other awards. We also give mentorship. So our committee team is composed of many professionals that currently are involved in many different professionals. We have educators, we have counselors, we have accountants, we have lawyers, we have insurance makers, we have a lot of different professionals that are involved within our committee team. And that is what makes us different, is that we basically provide a network for you to network with us and get involved with, basically, if you're curious about our profession, we could provide more resources, recommendations to you. And we also provide employment recommendations. In the past, the Good Samaritan Scholarship Program has been a good resource for providing job opportunities. And some of our recipients and applicants have actually obtained jobs because of our referrals. So like I mentioned, our last component is networking. We give you the platform to network with a lot of professionals, a lot of students, and we basically encourage you all to start building your network. You have no idea how important it is for you to create your network now that you basically are starting your college career. And I'm gonna speak more about that as we proceed. So LinkedIn, I'm pretty sure you all have heard of LinkedIn. If you have not, we have an assignment for you. And this assignment will be due probably by next month, and I'll follow up with you all. Basically, LinkedIn is a platform. It's kind of like a social network platform for professionals. So what LinkedIn does is that it connects you with professionals and also your peers and basically anyone that you want to connect with. It could connect you with, for example, Apple. It could connect you with Microsoft. All of the large corporations are there. And what I have seen from LinkedIn is that sometimes they post internship opportunities, job opportunities, and you could also start building your network from LinkedIn. So the assignment for next month, and I really want you all to write this down because you will forget, but I'll also be reminding you about this assignment, is that your assignment is for you to create a LinkedIn account and share your profile ID with me. And then for the next meeting that we will have the interviews, we will all add each other on LinkedIn. So by adding each other on LinkedIn, while you are in college and you begin making yourself a professional, you're gonna start seeing that your peers who you were with the scholarship program back in 2020, you're gonna see that someone probably became a doctor, someone became a lawyer, and then your network is gonna start growing and you're gonna have the opportunity to connect with them in the future. So I want you all to create a LinkedIn account and send me your username profile, so we could all share it with our scholarship committee panel and our students. So like I mentioned, Works of Power is very involved with Facebook. Feel free to give us a like on our main Works of Power page or our Good Samaritan Scholarship USA page. Feel free to take a picture of this slideshow so you could get our usernames. But like I mentioned, we're going to be posting a lot of upcoming events and a lot of opportunities here in these Facebook pages. And also on the left-hand side of the page, feel free to obtain my information there. You will be able to get in contact with me. And also, if you have any questions along the way, feel free to let me know. Like I mentioned, I'm very easy to get in contact with. So I encourage you all to reach out to us. Like I mentioned, during normal circumstances, you would be getting to meet us personally. So I don't want this year to be any different than that. Feel free to call me, text me, email me, but I really want to get to know you all, and I want to start building a circle with this year's scholarship applicants. So I'm going to cover a quick session, which is overcoming obstacles. And I feel like this is very relevant to us all today, especially because we're all going through some sort of obstacle right now. If it's, being stuck at home, if it's learning online, if it's, financial problems, if it's family problems, we're all going through obstacles. And I really want to remind you that why it's super important to overcome obstacles. So how, why, and what for? The reality is that we're all obviously gonna run into obstacles as long as we're alive. Obstacles will come here and there, but they're not forever. As long as there is life, the obstacle could be overcome. So the interesting thing is how we use those obstacles, and how we learn from those obstacles when we overcome it is what becomes an advantage to us. So some obstacles that you're probably going to run into when you go into college, and what I've heard from our previous scholarship recipients, is that their obstacles in college are limited financial support, if that is financial aid, if that is support that your family could give you monthly. That's going to be a really big obstacle for you to start start preparing for. If that is, if you could start saving money now, if you could start applying to scholarships, if you could get some sort of internship jobs, just so you could help your family out while you move out to college. Also, leaving home is going to be a huge obstacle, leaving your family, um, finding out that college classes are super difficult, and they're probably different from what you're used to. What I noticed, and from my recent experiences in Southgate High School, is that they baby us in the in our high schools here in, obviously, wherever you are. They baby us, and in college, you are honestly required to fully have the responsibility on you. You are responsible of submitting all assignments, remembering when the next test is due. Basically, you're responsible of managing your own time, and you don't have a babysitter anymore. As compared to here in high school, you're always reminded of what's coming next, the lab that is due at this specific time. So in college, things will be different. So I encourage you all to start preparing and finding what works for you. And also emotional distress and feeling alone. Obviously, some of you will be going off to college and living in the dorms and leaving your families. So maybe this is going to be one of those obstacles that will impact you the most, because maybe you're not used to living alone. Maybe you haven't lived alone ever, and you're very used to living with your family. So these are some obstacles that you probably want to get prepared for, so they don't affect you and affect your first year in college. So I will be sending you some tips along the way while you get prepared to go into your first year in college. So how could you overcome these obstacles? The first thing you need to do is you need to understand the obstacle. You need to craft a plan, obviously. You need to carry out the plan, and you need to take time to reflect, and you need to implement that plan. And basically, if once you start implementing that plan, you could learn from your failures, and you could also celebrate if it worked for you. If it did not work for you, you need to change the plan and just change the wheel a bit, modify it, do something differently. But you really need to understand what's currently causing the problem in you. You also need to be self-disciplined. As you go off into college, you're now considered a semi-adult. So you're no longer going to have your parents telling you, hey, do this, do that. You're now on your own, and you need to start having that mindset that you need to be fully disciplined, and you need to be responsible with your responsibilities, since whatever you do has consequences. You also need to have a positive attitude, and you need to visualize your success. For example, if you're having a difficult time your first year in college, you need to think, okay, my first year in college, these classes won't be forever. There's only 4 years left, and then I will probably be in my dream job, and I'm going to be very happy. So I encourage you all to really to really try to work hard during your first year in college, because what I've noticed is that the students who do not take their first year in college seriously are the students who end up getting kicked out of college. And I've seen a lot of that. Or students who end up failing all their classes and repeating their classes all over again, which causes them to graduate at a later date and not with their class that they entered with. So why should you overcome your obstacles, and why should you take your first year of college seriously? So I don't know about you, but what I've seen about many families and applicants who have applied to the scholarship program, and even myself, is that you have an army of people back at home believing in you and rooting for you. If that is your family, if that is your friends, there's a lot of people who are cheering you on and want to see you succeed in life and do good in college. So the main reason why you should be motivated to do good in college and make your family and friends proud is because they're all rooting for you. You obviously don't want to disappoint them. That's why you need to work hard. And also your current obstacles may seem impossible, such as, for example, if you have a calculus class, a physics class, a economics class, which are pretty difficult, and you will see once you get to college what I'm talking about. But your current obstacle is not impossible. There's a lot of resources in college, such as free tutoring. There's free videos that they provide to you. You could go to office hours. There's a lot of support for you to defeat that obstacle, and for you to 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 overcome that obstacle pretty much. And as long as, like I mentioned, as long as you have life, there's a solution to any problem. If that is financially, educationally, there's always going to be a solution. But the main point that I'm trying to get across to you is that you need to understand the plan and you need to create a plan. You cannot allow your feelings, your sadness, your fear of the current problem that you're going through take over your entire life, because you'll obviously not succeed if you allow that to happen. And also, a year from today, you will most likely not even remember the current problem you're going through. I personally have experience of that, such as taking physics classes and calculus. When I thought that life was over for me, I was never going to overcome it. And the next year, when I finished that class, I didn't even remember about how much I was scared about the finals, the midterms. So honestly, you could do it. And if you ever need any recommendations, if you need to speak to anyone, or if you just need to craft a plan with someone, feel free to get in contact with us, with your family, with friends, with your roommates, just anyone that could possibly give you another fresh set of opinions and ideas. And also, what for? Why should you be victorious, and why should you overcome your obstacles? Um, I personally feel like our parents work really hard for us. If that is coming from a low-income family, coming from a first-generation family, or even just seeing how hard your parents work to provide food for you and send you off to college. The first point is, so your parents' hard work pays off to make ourselves and anyone who believed in us proud, and to build tough skin and become resilient, and to know how to handle our future obstacles. So like I mentioned, obstacles will never end. While you're in college, while you're an adult, and while you become old, the obstacles will never end. And it's important for you to start understanding how you during your life will overcome obstacles, and for you to start building a tough skin, and start making your brain treat obstacles as kind of like a puzzle, not allowing them to scare you, but kind of challenge your mind and your creativity, so that you could use those obstacles, and so you could become wiser in the future. And that is the end for my presentation. And like I mentioned, if you have any questions, I will stick around, but you could also get in contact with me. Our next presentation that we'll have is from Jimena, who is an accountant, and she will be covering her road to accounting and also she'll be giving you more recommendations as to how you could basically find your profession. And I'm excited to hear Jimena's presentation. So Jimena, off to you.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me well. I would like to ask if you guys can just, on the chat, just kind of shoot either what major you've already chosen, if you're going in undecided, or what you have in mind, so I kind of know like who's in the group and what kind of professions you guys have in mind for your future. Are you gonna kind of do the slides for me as we go, since I don't have control over what's next? Or are we just gonna stay with this and I'm just gonna talk through?
Yeah, so I actually didn't have any slides for you. So I think it's just gonna be more like a speaking presentation,
Yeah, no,
if that's okay with you.
no, that's totally fine. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, so I am seeing stuff on the chat. Thanks for chiming in. Okay, so ooh, law, psychology, film studies, artsy, biology, science. So science was not my forte. Human bio, sociology. Okay, engineering. That's a little bit closer to. That's a lot of numbers. Awesome. It might change. Yes. So I'll kind of share my story starting from high school. So I went to Garfield High School, like I mentioned, and I was lucky enough to, my senior year, I think it was, I got placed into my elective was to be in our college center, kind of like an assistant in the college center. And that's how I got through all my college applications. And I didn't know what I wanted to study. So, my mom was on my back about, hey, you need to go to college. That's the only option you have. So whether or not we could pay for it financially, in my case, it wasn't, but I qualified for a lot of financial aid because I had good grades, because we were very low income. So back to my major, I didn't know what I wanted to declare. And my college counselor, she said, well, what are you strong at? What subject are you good at? And what comes easy to you? So I said, numbers, for sure, math. I could do math all day. It doesn't make me bored. I just like crunching numbers. And so then I said, well, she said, how patient are you? And I said, I wouldn't say I'm very patient. She's like, okay, so you don't see yourself ever becoming a math professor, math teacher. And I said, oh no, I think kids of any age will drive me up a wall. So then she recommended accounting. She said, you know what, as your homework today, go home and look, just Google accounting, see what you can find online. I was the first in my family to go to college. All my parents, siblings are all in Mexico, cousins, everyone's in Mexico. So I didn't really have a strong relationship with anyone who had a career. And so I went home, I Googled accounting, and it turned out it was math in the real world. So I decided, when I was doing all my college applications, I did either accounting or econ or finance, whatever the colleges or the schools provided as an option. So I applied to 12 colleges because I had a waiver, a waiver for 4 UC schools, 4 Cal States, and then I had gotten applications in the mail from a couple private schools, and I applied to those, and I ended up deciding for California Lutheran University. It's a small private school up in Thousand Oaks. I had gone into schools such as like UC Santa Barbara and UCLA. So some people in high school, some friends, and even some teachers questioned why I didn't want to go to UCLA if it's such a big name, such a big school. And my reasoning was, I'm going in blind. I don't know what I'm walking into. And if I go into such a big school, there's no guarantee that I'm not going to lose my way. So I decided to go for a small school. I did get a lot more hand-holding in regards to, I had a counselor I could go and talk to whatever day I needed, and go over my classes, make sure I was taking the right classes in the right order, and therefore graduate within the 4-year period, because I didn't have the luxury of taking on an extra year because I was already, taking on federal school loans. And so fast forward to my senior year, I stuck with accounting. I got my accounting degree, and then I was lucky enough to make it through my first couple accounting classes and enjoy them. So I did want to circle back to that. If you have a major in mind and you go in and you realize that the classes aren't as engaging as you would like them to be, or they just don't captivate you like you thought they would, then don't be afraid to, ask around, talk to a counselor, and see if there's other majors that might interest you better. Of course, I encourage you not to wait too long, but if you do go in and you do decide that whatever major you picked you actually enjoy, then just finish strong. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it at the end of the road. I graduated with my accounting degree, and I was lucky enough. Actually, the job I went into after graduation, I got my foot in the door during our last kind of like career day, where our school would bring in, and most schools, as far as I'm aware, do have like career days where they have several companies come on campus and just do recruiting for, juniors or graduating seniors, whether you go in as an intern or they have positions, full-time positions for you to come in and fill. I actually spoke to a public accounting firm that they have an office out in Oxnard. I spoke to a partner there. He was there. He was like the only one at their booth. And I kind of just spoke to him, pitched my resume, and basically said, I am interested in working for a company, but I am moving back to LA because I can't afford to live out here after graduation. And he was kind enough to forward my resume to the LA office, HR personnel, and I got an offer for an interview. I think it was like a day or two, or it was the Friday before graduation. I went in for my interview. I didn't hear back till a week later. So when I crossed the stage during graduation, I didn't have a job, but I got an offer the following Friday, and I was able to start a month later. So it all just kind of worked out. I did that for 4 years. I was a tax associate, and I worked my way up to a senior tax associate, where you kind of start doing some more reviewing and less preparing. And then I decided, you guys may not know this, but when it comes to accounting, there's kind of two roads you can take. It's public accounting or private sector, which is private accounting. And I was doing public. Public is a little more time consuming, it demands more time, just because it's more seasonal. So I had 2 busy seasons throughout the year. March and April, I basically lived at work, and then again September, August, September, and mid-October. And then the other months of the year were very slow. So I was getting tired of the very high hours and then the lull in between the heavy months. So I tried to transition into private accounting. So private accounting is what you think of as just someone at any company that does accounting or finance or financial analyzing and budgeting. And I was lucky enough to actually have it was part of networking that got me into my next position. The person I'm dating, he was working in an aerospace company, and he said, well, why don't you talk to my controller? I have a good relationship with her, and she's really nice. I think she'd be willing to kind of hear you out, just to let you pick at her brain. And we really we set up a dinner. a dinner date. I met her at the restaurant, and I just kind of wanted to know, just tell me everything you know about private accounting. What has the road looked like for you? It really just was as simple as that. And she kind of kept me in mind, and it turned out that 2 or 3 weeks later, her financial analyst resigned, and I came to mind. So she reached out to me and offered to, you know, have me come in for an interview if I was interested in the position. So I did want to talk about Alfredo's point about networking. You definitely want to build your circle, and you never know when someone will have you in mind for the next opening and the next opportunity. So just having a good relationship with people you meet along the way, whether it's classmates in school, professors, your professors might eventually know someone who has a job opportunity, and they realize you were such a great student, and they might have you in mind, and they might refer you to that position. So I think networking is huge. It's bigger than you realize. I feel like I definitely didn't realize it was that big when I was in college, but it comes in handy. And so that's how I got into private accounting. I'm a financial analyst now, and I get to see the other side of the coin when it comes to accounting. But I personally feel like I really lucked out when it came to accounting, because accounting is so relevant across all business types, whether it's small, mom and pop shops, they need bookkeeping assistance, or it's a big corporation and they have a whole finance and accounting team, then you're practicing private accounting. Or it could be public accounting, where you need taxes. Everyone has to file their taxes, whether it's a company or individuals, and auditing. Publicly traded companies all need their financial statements audited in order to ask for, people to invest in their company. So I just feel that accounting is so relevant across all business types, and that's basically been my journey up until this point.
Awesome. Sounds good. Jimena, if I could ask you to give 3 recommendations to the scholarship applicants during their first year, the 3 most essential recommendations that you think will benefit them the most, what would they be?
I think first and foremost is don't give up. It will be a big transition period. It's more challenging for some people than others, but no matter what, if it's tough, it's because you're growing. So don't give up, and put in the time and effort that it requires. It will get easier your second and third year once you have a hang of what needs to get done. How to prioritize your time, just really. So I would say that don't give up, put in the time that it requires, and don't be afraid to ask for help. I feel that if you are feeling overwhelmed, don't be afraid to try and, if you're living on campus, there's the RAs, use them to your advantage in your residence halls. And if you're not living on campus, join clubs, go talk to your counselor, because I feel that building a community within your first year really helps you. You kind of find, your close friends that you're going to lean on eventually throughout your college career. So I would say those would be my 3. Don't give up, be willing to put in the time and effort, and don't be afraid to ask for help.
Awesome, awesome. I really enjoyed your presentation, Jimena. Thank you so much. And we're gonna leave a segment at the end of the presentation. If you have any questions for our speakers, you'll be able to ask them. But thank you, Jimena. For now, we will move on to our next presentation, which is Misty Heron. She is, I will unmute her, right? Well, she is unmuted. Misty, are you there with us?
I'm here. Sorry.
Awesome. Okay.
I always beat you to the punch. Good morning, everybody. And you can go on to the next slide for me, Alfredo, please.
Awesome. Thank you.
So I know that this year is a little bit hard, right? Because some universities you're able to go on campus. Some universities are doing everything via the computer and at home. But if you're able to, get to know your campus. This is the big part. Or because campuses are a little bit bigger than your typical high schools and things. And a lot of universities are doing virtual tours of the campus, so you could do virtual tours and see. And finding your classroom ahead of time is huge, because some professors, I don't know if they're still able to do this, but I had a professor who wouldn't let people in if they were late. Like, he literally, which I had two professors. I had an abnormal professor who, if you were late, she would shoo you out. I had a professor who would just not let people in at all, and you missed out for the day. And the key part that I needed to find was a place to study. Some people like really quiet places to study. Some people are strange like myself who like loud places. Like, I like being around people and hearing the aftermath, and it made me focus. So find what works for you and finding those places that you feel comfortable to study. And sometimes what worked in high school might not work in college, because you are growing as a human being. So find what changes and what doesn't. And next slide, please. Don't overwhelm yourself. That's a big thing. And that is one that I will throw myself under the bus and said I did. I started college at 16, and I was, if you looked up somebody who wanted to overwhelm themselves with education, that was me. At one point, I signed up for 18 units. Do not do that. Balance your schedule out, do something that you enjoy too. If it's a music class, an art class, PE, if that's your thing, and find out what works and balance it out, okay? And I saw a lot of biology majors in there, so please take note, this is not a dig to you, okay? I've just found that some people think doing math and science in the science lab all in one day, it seems fine, but what you're going to end up finding is that you're going to burn yourself out. And things. And first year is one of the hardest times, because you're still finding out who you are your classes and everything. So try to balance it out. Don't feel like you need to do everything all in one day. Okay. And we can go on to socialize. Okay, you're going to get sick of us saying this, but we truly want you guys to socialize, meet new people, stay connected, because who you meet throughout college, it's going to come back again, and you're going to find them through LinkedIn and find them at different firms, different jobs. Because even though there's 7 billion people on this planet, we are surely finding that it's a lot smaller than we think it is. It's okay. And that you're going to find different people who can help you along the way. Because maybe math is not your thing, but the person sitting next to you in your math class is really good at it. And you're able to form study groups together who can help you out. Or maybe English is your thing and the person sitting next to you is having a difficult time with the term paper. You can help each other out, and you find groups and friends and support systems. Okay? And I know I say don't become a party animal. You're going to be tempted by a lot of things, especially if we go back to campus. A lot of people, because you have this newfound freedom. And with newfound freedom, all the rules that you had before kind of get forgotten. But if you stand firm in what you believe in and what your clear boundaries are you'll steadfast and go on and get your degree. Okay, because those who end up partying and waste more money, and they don't, for the most part, most of them don't succeed or don't get further along, or it takes them longer to do that. Okay. So you can go to the next slide for me, Alfreda. Thank you. So don't procrastinate. Okay, this is a big one. And I know that a lot of people like to work under pressure and things, but you're going to find in college you cannot do that because you're going to be doing a lot more reading than ever. And a lot of professors don't remind you. So please read your syllabus, all of them, in detail, and really listen out for deadlines that the teacher will tell you. Okay. I'm old school. I use planners. I know we're in the age, y'all are Generation Z, and I'm very proud of y'all and things. And you guys are more technologically savvy than I am. So if you have open up your calendars, put it in your calendar, make alarm settings, whatever works for you, use them. Use the tools that you have. And don't wait until the last minute to write your paper because y'all need sleep. Sleep is very important. So, please use that. If you need 3 alarms and things, do that. But then also have an alarm clock or an alarm on your phone and make sure you listen to it so you're not late to class too. So make sure about that. Okay. Next. Right. At office hours. Office hours are so important. And also to realizing that office hours are going to be a little changed up this year. I know that with COVID-19, unfortunately, a lot of universities have had to cut professors and limit their office hours. So please make sure that you know when your professor has office hours and things. Sign up as quickly as possible. Or come prepared too. Professors do not always have the best patience, okay? I know that we think of educators having the greatest patience. Professors in universities do not always, okay? They don't show as much grace as a lot of your high school teachers would or have, okay? So please be prepared to come with questions and things. And also too, it's get to know your TAs too. Because a lot of professors have doctoral students who are preparing themselves to be professors and things. And also too, you create great study groups in the hallways or in the different chat rooms as we're doing Zooms and things online. So find what works, get to know, because professors are going to have roughly 200, if not more, students. And when they actually see your face, they'll remember you. And they'll remember the person that is prepared. And like Humana said, they might recommend you for a job. But they might have great recommendations if you're going on to grad school or some big firm in the future, because they have connections too. So making those times is important. But okay, one of the things that I have learned over the years is Do not buy your books at a bookstore unless you absolutely have to, because sometimes that is not a choice, because some professors really love to publish themselves. Okay, so that's the only time that you should ever buy a book, is if you at the bookstore, is if you absolutely have to. But because there are so many sources of things online where to buy cheaper books, and usually students will find things online to find a book, and double check the edition of the book too, because they might have decided to use the 8th edition last spring, but the fall, magically the 9th edition comes up. And yes, there's like 1 or 2 different things, so just check on that. But please do not, unless you absolutely have to, because one, finances, is you find out that most of your money goes to buying books and things. And we're going to talk about that in the next slide that says about setting a budget. Okay. This is a big one. Okay. I start off by saying, yeah, I agree with Jimena. You can write your butts if possible too. Oh, I'm reading the comments in the chat as well. And you can ask me questions along the way, that's fine. And I do see them. Spending, budgeting. As you now have this newfound freedom and methods and scholarship monies come about, you're gonna want to spend because you don't know what to do with this amount of money. Okay, so don't overspend and really think about needs before wants, and that's hard. And in realizing that your need of making sure that you have your dorm paid off, food, books, and things, it's important. You know, really setting out how much you have for a week and things. And the great thing is, through this community, we have a great grouping of community leaders who are, you know, accounting and financial advisors who can give you that kind of advice. Okay. And also too, the credit card company loves young people because they see us as people who will go out and spend a lot of money because we have this newfound freedom, as you're going to soon find. And so you still have to pay back that money. So please note that credit cards isn't free money. You'll eventually have to pay it all back. And that is what actually causes a lot of people to go into debt during college time, is they don't realize credit cards isn't free money that you can spend. Okay. I have one more slide. Yes, I do. Self-care. Okay. And this is actually something I talk a lot about. So I am a school-based counselor for the Boys and Girls Club of Garden Grove, and I work with kindergartners all the way to 8th grade, but I've done K through 12, okay? And one of the things that I tell all of my students is how important self-care is, okay? And self-care is very important, especially as you get so driven into doing your homework, juggling in a part-time job and things, and you feel like you're never going to get it together. Right? So how can we take care of ourselves through one of the hardest times is getting our physical, our mental, and our emotional state working. Okay. So, and this is checking in with yourself, you know, feeling overwhelmed? Are you tired? Are you sleeping enough too? Because you're gonna need to eat healthy food. I know that that's hard on campus. I know that ramen is cheap and things, but finding different things that are on sale and things, fruits and vegetables, those, but knowing your physical self, go for a walk. Like if you like walking, you know, going bike riding and, playing with your dog, uh, and things, cleaning if that's your thing. And and when I'm really frustrated, that's what I like to do. I like to clean and things. And knowing your mental too, your mental state of, sometimes we need to turn off our phones. And I get it, it's hard because our lives are on there. Like, it's kind of interesting nonetheless. Especially now, I realize that that's kind of hard, but realizing taking time away from your phone and realizing that you are important too. So, reading a book, listening to music, you know, taking photos, doing art, you know, even adult coloring books. So those things are very important, and emotional or spiritual. Some of us need to journal. Some people need to do a gratitude check or meditate, or pray, and, or go into, read your Bible, like, whatever it is that fills you. So, you really need to check in and realize that you have so much going through, but you need to also take breaks. Taking a break is good, it's healthy, because you need that time for your mind to wind down. Okay, and I think I have one last slide, right?
Yes.
Okay. I like little acrostics. So, this one has just says, so see your goal, understand the obstacles, create a positive mental picture, clear your mind of self-doubts, embrace the challenge, stay on track, and show the world that you can do it. Because you guys, you can do it, and I truly believe that. And being part of this for 7-8 years now, and seeing people come back and hearing the amazing stories, it's and things. So that is I truly believe in you guys, and you guys can do it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Misty. I really enjoyed your presentation. So now we will be moving over to Mr. and Mrs. Conde, and they're going to basically give you some words of encouragement. And let me unmute them right now so they could speak to you all.
Can you hear me, Alfredo?
Yes, we can.
All right. Yeah, you're right. I'll thank all of you for presenting and sharing your experiences and your insight of your personal journeys through college and helping, give just a little view and perspective to these young students who will be going through those same roads and on that same journey. A lot of good information and actually practical. Students, what you have received today is very practical. Some of you have had or have older siblings that may have gone to college, but some of you may not have. So this is truly, like for Jimena, a new world. So consider everything that's been said. My wife and I have gone through pages of education to a doctorate and a master's degree. So we've been down the road, and it's work. It's like anything else. If you want to be good at something, you have to work at it. And if you want to be a good student, you have to work at it. I have kids in college, and I have to tell my kids, it's just not getting through or getting a degree. If you are considering going on beyond a undergraduate, say a bachelor's degree, you have to get through with some pretty decent grades to get into programs, either a master's or some other kind of class. So it's just not getting a degree. If you want to move on, you have to make sure you get some pretty good grades. I think probably at a minimum, you're looking around a 3.5 for consideration into particular programs that you may be interested in doing. So now that I'm older, I think one of the things I've learned in life is you don't know everything. You definitely are going to need help from people. And in my own personal life experience and journey, I think one of the things that I've learned is really to trust in God, to ask God for help. And even if you don't feel close to God, there's a proverb in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 that now that I'm older and wiser, I think, have really come to give me more direction and a better understanding about life. And it goes like this. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all that you do, acknowledge him, and he will direct your steps. But because we may generally know where we want to go, or for some people, they may not at all. Just ask God. Shoot a prayer up and say, God, I don't know. I think this, but would you please direct my steps? Control or help me to make those steps that are going to be the best for me. Start that conversation now. And you will see that you will be much better for it. Because the reality is, as human beings, we are going down roads that we've never traveled before. And we want to have a perspective that is beyond our own, because ours is limited and God's is not. So I want to encourage you with that. I think at this age, your life is exciting, or at least it should be. These are new experiences and opportunities that should be fun, and they should be enriching to your life. I know, there will be possibly financial struggles, but don't give up. Don't ever give up. Find a way. I really like what was mentioned earlier, that, life is filled with struggles, but there's always answers. And I believe that's true. And you will grow wiser from those struggles. And you will be able to take that same tenacity and apply it to your work, your career. Just don't give up. You have what it takes to make it through. You've already proven it by your academic achievements, and there is really nothing to stop you from achieving some of your goals and dreams or aspirations than yourself. There are no no's in this world that can truly stop you in our country. The road is wide open. Be smart, and everything that's been said today is practical. Use it, consider it, but if you just never give up, you'll ultimately get where you want to be. So I'm going to allow my wife to share some encouraging words, and here you go.
Yeah. Hi, hello, everyone. I wanted to just first start off by congratulating all of you on your accomplishments that you've done so far. And truly, you are a unique group of graduates that have had to endure some of the biggest challenges that I think we've ever faced in education. In education, it is always challenging and trying to meet the needs of everyone. And with this current situation, there have been challenges that you probably won't experience again for a while. So if you're coming through this okay and being okay on the other side, then you already have overcome a big obstacle. And so I just want to reiterate what everyone else has said, because it is all true. It's a lot to take in, because I know, you're getting a lot of different information and you'll have to sort through and sift through what everyone said. But I do want to encourage you and let you know that everything that everyone has said is absolutely true. So take it, put it there in your back pocket and use it when you need it. But again, I just want to, again, encourage you more for the immediate right now where it's very challenging. You've had to finish off your senior year via the computer, not the ideal situation. But this time will pass. This is a temporary situation. Your college experience, you have 4 years to experience your college years, and it will not be like this. And so just, I want to encourage you to get over this hump. Don't let the current situation thwart your goals. Look forward, look past this, and know that the rest of your college years will be somewhat normal, and you will be able to enjoy what everyone else has as part of that learning experience. So again, just look to the future, put all this information in your pocket of knowledge and information, and go forward in success. Again, congratulations. I hope that your different high schools are able to recognize you and your accomplishments in a way that is somewhat pleasing. It's very hard because it's not traditional, but again, know that everyone is proud of you, and what you've accomplished so far is really great. So good luck out there, and I look forward to hearing more about each and every one of you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Conde and Mrs. Evelyn Conde. I do want to ask you both if you could give one recommendation that someone, let's say when you were barely entering college, if someone was to give you a recommendation that you now, being where you are now, you could, you wish they gave you that recommendation, what would that recommendation be?
Well, for me, it would be to begin to explore the different, well, talk to your college professors, find out and what are the college requirements for your major as soon as possible, because that will help direct your choices for classes, and could very well save you time and money in getting through this first phase of the education process as quickly and as cheaply as possible. And you'll learn whether or not you'll want to enter that career or field. So definitely learn what the requirements are for your major, and start talking to your professors.
Yes, absolutely. I think I would have to agree with David. I mean, there will be a lot of obstacles and challenges, and not just in the setting itself, but just within yourselves. Do I really want to study this? Is there something else out there? And just to have someone to connect with an advisor, or someone who can keep you on track, and use those resources so that you know the shortest way, because when you're in it, and 4 years doesn't seem like a whole long time, but when you're in the thick of it, it can be overwhelming. And so, yeah, you want to get through that whole process in the quickest amount of time, and not and like Dave says, with the least amount of money. So definitely utilize your advisors and counselors at school, for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your presentation. I'm pretty sure that these students and even all of us found it super useful. And now we're going to proceed with the conclusion of our scholarship orientation. So pretty much I want to thank you all for joining us for this virtual orientation. So our next coming events will be our scholarship interviews, which are going to be on June 13th. And basically, we're gonna continue having a Zoom presentation, and they're gonna be individual. So interviews will be mandatory for the scholarship program if you do want to receive a scholarship. So I will personally be contacting each individual of you. So be on the lookout for my call, my text, my email. And the award ceremony, it's tentative at the moment, but we're thinking somewhere like around July, August. So I do want you to tentatively mark your calendars just so you could keep us in mind for those important dates. And also, yeah, I pretty much said this, and we look really forward seeing you for the interviews. So for the interviews, I do have a special requirement is for you to turn your video cameras on so we could see who we're speaking to. It's going to be a bit more professional, a bit more formal. So we do ask you to, if you can, wear something nice just so we could see you, we could add a face to your application. Just keep in mind that our committee team will have had read your scholarship application. So now what we want to get to know you on a personal level, and we want to basically get to know you more and ask you a few questions. So we encourage you to yeah, to basically attend those interviews, and I'll also be sending you a few recommendations along the way before the interviews event. So I do ask you to take the interview seriously, because that will definitely have a huge impact on your application profile. But nonetheless, the interviews have ended. I will leave around 5 minutes for questions. If you have any questions for myself, for Jimena, for Misty, for Mr. David or Evelyn Conde, feel free to unmute your microphone and ask any questions, or even on the chat feature. We could answer all the questions via the chat feature, or also, yeah, so feel free to ask any questions. But like I mentioned, I'm leaving 5 minutes until 11:35 for any questions you may have. And this is,
Alfredo, let
yes.
me just encourage the students. I've been doing this, I guess, has it been 17 years already? But I want to tell the students that for all the number of years that I've been doing this, I want you to feel comfortable with the interview. It really is just about knowing you. So be who you are. We have as much fun doing it as maybe you might be fearful of it, but we want you to have as much fun as we are in the process. So we enjoy meeting with you and talking to you and learning about you guys, and because we really want the best for your future. So just don't worry about it. It won't be that tough.
That's a good recommendation, Mr. Conde. Is there any questions that someone may have? And just keep in mind that we have all been through what you're going to be going in through. So if there's anything that you possibly are curious about, have any questions or concerns, honestly, now is your time to ask. And if I had been given, well, I was given that opportunity. I really took advantage during the scholarship program back in 2014, and I asked all the questions that I had, and honestly, take advantage of this, because school is starting soon, and now is your moment to ask any questions. So feel free in the chat feature here. We have a few more minutes before we close off the meeting. But while we're waiting for the meeting to end, I have recorded this presentation. I will be sending it over to everyone who attended this presentation, and I'll also be uploading it to YouTube and our Facebook page. And I'll also be sending you some follow-up emails with recommendations, websites as to how you could get prepared for entering college. So if there's anything else that we could do for you, I'll also be providing our contact information, our emails of all the speakers. So feel free to send us an email. Just get, just basically introduce yourselves and get to know us a bit more. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't see any questions. So I do want to thank you all for attending the orientation event, and we will see you all June 13th.